welcome to our 9th Property Finder webinar. We share our data as well as invite guests from the industry to help you navigate through the COVID-19 situation. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Lynette Abad, and I'm the Director of Research and Data at Property Finder, and also the business unit owner of Data Finder. Like the previous weeks, we will continue to shape the UAE real estate market and help your businesses. In case this is your first time here, let me share what we're doing in this webinar. Even with the recent increase in mobility, the COVID-19 situation is still affecting the economy, and we are all in this together. We at Property Finder want to be your best partners during this time and in the future. This is important for us because as a company, we do well only if your business does well. Like previous weeks, we want to give you more visibility into what's happening in the market through our data and also help you transact more through insights by using our unique data set provided by our amazing data scientists. We will continue to share our data and insights with you today. Every week, we're taking your feedback into consideration. So our flow today will reflect what you told us in our last webinar. You told us you want to continue to hear from external experts, so we have more for you this week. You also told us you wanted to hear more from DLD, so we will start with a Q&A session with Hiba Jabbar from DREI, who will provide further clarity on how to operate your business under this current situation. Like the previous weeks, we will also share our unique data. Update on the impact we see on the UAE real estate market, but a bit shorter this week because we want to focus more on our external guests. And we will share some search trends that you can turn into immediate actions. Then we will have our second external guest, Malik Al-Rifai, who will share great insights on the current market. We will then have a mortgage market update by Brendan Kennelly, Senior Mortgage Consultant at Mortgage Finder. At the end, there will be a possibility to post questions. Some will be answered directly in the chat, others during the Q&A at the end of the presentation. And as always, after the webinar, we'll send you an email to get your feedback. With that, let me introduce your host today. Next slide, please. Together with me, like the previous weeks, we also have my colleague, Stuart Shapley, Director of New Homes. Stuart is also running our COVID-19 response approach at the moment. We also have team members behind the scenes, so we have a smooth experience today. Next slide, please. As per your suggestions and feedback, we have 3 guests with us today. Hiba Jabbar from Dubai Land Department, DREI. Malik Al-Rifai, Senior Associate, Real Estate at Al Tamimi Company. And Brendan Kennelly, Senior Mortgage Consultant and Team Leader at Mortgage Finder. We are very excited to have them with us this week. Now let's quickly dive into the survey results from the last webinar. Next slide, please. Every week we ask you if you are happy with the content of the webinar. According to the survey and the increasing number of participants every single week, it looks like you are. That's why we are here again today. On the left side, I share how you graded us. 100% of you thought that the webinar met or exceeded your expectations. 95% of you enjoyed the variety of speakers. And 100% rated Property Finder's efforts to be your best partner as good or above. Thank you for these ratings. We at Property Finder are working very hard to earn your trust. On the right side, we asked again your view on the time to market recovery. It's almost 50-50 between those of you who think the market will recover in less than 6 months and those of you who think it will take more than 6 months to recover. As we said before, the most difficult part of this situation is the uncertainty, which is reflected in these surveys for all of us. This is why we try every single week to bring you the best data on the real estate market. Now, let's look at the real estate data market trends. As you know, we have the best data on UAE real estate trends, and we're now going to share this with you. We also share new and more targeted data and make suggestions on what kind of actions to take because we want to help you manage your business well during this time as well as in the future. Next slide, please. The number of listings have been stable for the last 4 weeks, 1% increase for both sales and rental. Listing views as well, with the exception of a drop during the Eid week. 3% increase for sales, 2% decrease for rental. Next slide, please. What we show you on the slide is very important. It's a summary of sales leads for week 2020 or week 22 in 2020 compared to the same week last year. For the first time since we started our webinar series, sales leads last week were above the same week last year across all units and Emirates. So I'm going to repeat that one more time. For the first time since we started our webinar series, which was right at the beginning of the crisis, sales leads last week were above the same week last year across all units and Emirates. So I don't know if you remember in our very first few webinars, we talked about pent-up demand. Well, this is it, folks. Dubai apartments, which used to be the most impacted, is now up by 9%. Dubai villas are up 1.4 times against the same week last year. Abu Dhabi apartments are up by 76%. Abu Dhabi villas are up by 2.6 times. Northern Emirate apartments are up by 1.1 times. And Northern Emirate villas almost up by 4 times. Next slide, please. Let's look at the same data for rental. Similar trends as for sales leads. Dubai apartments are up by 27%. Dubai villas are up 1.3 times against the same week last year. Abu Dhabi apartments are up by 34%. Abu Dhabi villas are up by almost 2 times. Northern Emirates apartments are up by 1.1 times, and Northern Emirates villas are up by 1.8 times. Needless to say, this is a great time to ramp up on your villa townhouse rental listings as people are clearly valuing personal outside space in their homes. Next slide, please. Now let's look at sales transactions. Remember what I have said in every single webinar. The average sales cycle is 45 days. So we should see the biggest impact on the sales transactions in the second half of May. This is exactly what has been happening in the last 3 months, right in the eye of the storm. The dark blue line are transactions for 2020. Light blue is transactions for 2019. We reached the lowest number of transactions in 2020. Looking at off-plan and secondary, both were impacted similarly in the last 3 weeks. Next slide, please. Now let's look at mortgage value and volume. Mortgage volumes were impacted right after the beginning of COVID-19, so about mid-March. It's recovering slowly, getting closer to 2019 levels, and you will hear later from Brendan how things are quickly turning around, especially in May. Mortgage value remains almost flat in 2020 and below 2019 levels. Next slide, please. So let me summarize what I just said. Number of listings and listing views stable over the last 4 weeks. Sales and rental leads are up against last year for both apartments and villa townhouses across Emirates, with the highest increase in leads for villas. Sales transactions are at their lowest in 2020 as we are in the middle of 45 to 60-day post-lockdown measures. Mortgage volumes are slowly recovering. Next slide, please. At Property Finder, we want to provide you the most relevant data that will help you take the right actions for your business. This is why this week we want to refresh our view on trends that we showed in our first webinars, the search for outdoor spaces and pools. Both continue to increase percent-wise of keyword searches. So what you should do, increase your inventory of units with outdoor spaces and or pools and boost your existing listings that have these features.
Our next guest today, Brendan Kennelly, who is our senior mortgage consultant and team leader for Mortgage Finder, is going to join us now. So welcome, Brendan.
Morning.
Morning. So I understand, as Lynette highlighted earlier on, that you've seen some really interesting consumer activity in your May data at Mortgage Finder. It'd be great if you can share some of the highlights with our audience today.
Yeah, so what we've seen from May is the highest value as a business submitted in mortgage approvals since August last year. What we've also seen is the most number of cases submitted since around October last year. And we've also had the highest number of online inquiries via our website since Mortgage Finder began. So it's all very positive, and there's a lot of activity going on out there.
So some more reasons to be optimistic, following on from what Malik was just saying about the Dubai and the UAE as a whole.
Exactly, yeah. So what we're seeing is that interest rates are at the lowest level they've ever been in the UAE, and loan to values are at the highest levels in recent times, certainly since the central bank has been in place. And to put it into context, the most number of inquiries we had in May was for around the 500,000 to 1.5 million mark. And if you're a buyer looking at a 1.5 million purchase, the upfront cost that will be required will be around 330,000 dirhams, which is significantly less than what it was, say, a couple of months ago.
Great. Thank you, Brendan. It's really encouraging signs coming out from what we're hearing from the data. It'd be great if you could share your view on the trends that you're seeing across the board in the mortgage market as well.
Yeah, the trends are positive as well. As I mentioned, interest rates have never been lower, loans to values as high as they've been in recent times. We're getting lots of inquiries from our real estate agent referrers. There's a lot of activity out there. There's people that were interested maybe 12, 18 months ago that are coming back in looking to purchase, which will all filter through to submissions to the banks. The banks are keen to lend. There's good products out there. Sometimes the processes aren't as quickly approved as we'd like, but we manage the situations and we kind of get the end results eventually.
That's great. Thanks, Brendan. Obviously, I know you're going to stick around with us for the Q&A. We are going to jump straight to Q&A now because we have a huge volume of questions that have come in for everybody on the call today. So I'm going to hand over to Lynette, but thank you very much, Brendan. You can stay on the camera for now as well.
Thank you. Cheers.
So to Brendan, there are a few buyers who have signed a new sale contract and have pre-approval, but are still abroad and cannot fly here as of yet. Any chance the bank will do changes and accept final approval to be signed remotely or via POA?
We're hoping for this. The banks still have kind of very strict compliance regulations, and the vast majority of banks would need a representative to actually physically meet a client to sign a final offer letter. We're on with the banks kind of on a daily basis to see if we can get documents couriered, see if they can do signing by Zoom. But the client should be able to get to at least the final offer letter stage. And then as things progress and change and maybe flights become more active, at least the offer letter's there readily available to sign.
A lot of questions, but we won't be able to get through them today. So what we will do is we will add them to the next webinar. I think it was a great combination to have someone like Hiba from Dubai Land Department along with a real estate attorney, just to give both sides of the story and to add more insights. So we'll be looking to continue that going forward. So our webinar attendance remains quite high despite the mobility in the UAE increasing and despite the fact that there's more business than a few weeks ago, as you have also seen in our data. We all know that your time is very valuable because you need to close business. Therefore, we are working very hard to make this the best hour of insights. Therefore, we have changed this webinar format to be bi-weekly. A huge thank you to our external guests as well. Thank you, Hiba, Malik, and Brendan. We have the best data. We have the best data in the UAE real estate market. Much more than the information we shared today is available through Data Finder. And as you know, we have given you access to Data Finder for free. Please ask your account manager if you haven't activated this access. We also publish these webinars on our hub if you want other people in your company to see these insights. And as always, we say, we want to be your best partner during this time and also in the future. We will ask you for your feedback by email in a few minutes. This is very important so we can make this webinar even better next time. So please answer our survey and we promise we'll try even harder to be your best partner. Stay safe, everyone, and see you in 2 weeks.
Thanks, everyone. Stay safe.
Bye.